Whatever you want.
Okay, go.
So that you bought top of the line commercial pressure washer with the brass pump, the stainless steel valves, the wire reinforced hoses and so forth. This has a service kit after about 1,000 hours run time. Sometimes it won't build full pressure, so there is a valve kit for about $89 that you just pop these off and pop the new valves in. So if you experience you're losing pressure, it's very straightforward. There's actually some here, 3 here, and 3 here. There's high and low, and they build back pressure on the line. Pressure's created at the nozzle on this machine. Right now you have a 33-foot hose on it. You can run up to 133 feet of hose on the line without any drop in pressure, because pressure's created at the nozzle. My suggestion to you, if you want extension hoses, the best place to get them is Princess Auto off the shelf, because they have the fittings already on them, and you just click it and they're about 1/3 the price of what Karcher charges. They're still wire and freeze hoses. Your pressure's at the nozzle here. And basically, right now we have a 25-degree jet nozzle in there. Now, if you want detergent, you have to take this one out and put this one in.
Okay.
Okay, that's a very large. What happens is the pressure drops and soap comes on, but you won't get any soap or detergent for about 20 seconds because it's got to come through the line. Now you'll see what we've done here. This is, I had it wrapped up so it's cold, but basically we put it so that you can just put the container, the bucket at the bottom there, and to turn the soap on, you just change the nozzle. Buggity boo, some people, the soap is set at 20-to-1. So most detergents you're going to use, they'll say 80-to-1 or 100-to-1. Like you've got to dilute them down. So what we normally do is we'll mix up a bucket with 1/4 full of soap and then 3/4 full of water. And just when we want to use it, and it stays stable for a couple months. More is not better. So all the time I'll get places that we're selling a ton of soap. It's great. But if you use too much concentrated soap, you end up with a film on everything you clean. It's not as good. So they used to have a metering switch on these machines, and what would happen is they'd last for about a month, and then somebody crank them too hard and they break, and then you get no soap. So they just have it set with a little orifice in there that draws at 20-to-1 when you have the soap nozzle on it. Okay?
And do you switch anything to the soap mode?
No, sir. So what it is there's a little spring in here and a ball bearing. This is getting too geotechnical, but what happens when you put the large nozzle in it, there's no back pressure. So spring, exactly, and then it sucks soap up the line, and then when you go to high pressure, it just jams that ball bearing back into the hole and shuts it off. It's the most simplistic system going, because there's no dials, there's no anything. You can actually, if you leave the nozzles right off it, you'll get soap as well, but it's just no pattern. Yeah. That just gives you the pattern as far as it goes. So there is an owner's manual here that covers this all off. This will stretch out once it's sat there for a while, but I had it wrapped. So there's a pressure switch here that you can actually turn the pressure down if you want. I don't recommend you do that, because what you're actually doing is you're opening a bypass, so it circulates the water. And
Still get the same volume of water.
No, it drops the water volume because it puts some in bypass, so there's less back pressure at the nozzle, so it drops down. Just move back. So if you have a 25-degree jet like this, if you're 12 inches from the surface, the impact pressure is 9 psi. So just don't get too close to the surface. If you do, it'll do damage, but it dissipates that quickly.
Right.
Okay, so always make sure the water's on. Basically, once the water's on, what we do is we give it a little pull on the trick here to make sure the water's flowing. And then, really straightforward, there's an on-off switch. I'm going to turn it on in a minute. We have a floor drain, so it'll be okay. Turn it on. If the phone rings and you're going to be gone for 5 minutes, it's okay.
Oh, is it? Okay.
But no longer than that. Yeah. So, and historically what happens is there's a bypass valve in there, and it will kick in if it overheats. But when the water starts circulating, it heats up. And if it goes too long, it pops in bypass so you don't burn out anything. So a good thing just to practice to get it, turn it off when not in use.
Still running.
Yes.
But there's nothing, you're not relieving it by bypassing some.
That's right. It's just doing a little cycle in here, and it can overheat. So we have a 20-amp breaker here, which is excellent, and a breaker switch. Occasionally, it might pop the breaker. And so you just give it a push and restart it. You've got like a double system here, and I've already been called to the place down here. We had a big emergency, it wouldn't work when they pressed that. Well, what had happened was the ground fault underneath it popped. So I was there for 8 seconds and fixed it. So it just pressed the other ground fault. So you have that. It comes with a 20-foot electrical cord. It'll be fine once it's tied up like that. If anything ever changes, you can move it, but it's out of the way there as far as that goes. Oil. It's a direct drive oil bath with a swash plate. Just look in there.
Sight glass?
Yeah, that's the sight glass, so it just has to be up to the red dot. Okay. It doesn't burn oil. It's used for lubrication, and my experience has been after a couple years, that'll start. It's detergent oil, so it'll turn white, and it breaks down.
So it is special oil?
Not really. No, it's 15W40 is just fine as long as it's 15W40 detergent oil. If you read the owner's manual, they'll tell you need SAE 90. Which is the same oil.
Gear oil, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's about 4 times the price.
Where do you put it?
So there's a cap here you take off. Yeah. Okay, and to drain it out, this one they eliminate. Okay, so they've eliminated the drain plugs. So you take this off and tip it on its side to drain it out. But there's your oil levels fine. Yeah. And then just a funnel in there to fill it. You're not going to do that for a couple of years. It doesn't burn oil, so there's no oil to check.
Is there a reason to change the oil? Like just make sure it's always got oil in it. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I've seen machines that are 10 years old have the same oil in it because it's just a detergent oil. It just breaks down over.
Well, it's not like they get, it's not like they get a lot of miles.
No.
Washers are not going all the time.
No. So one of the features that I really like about these trigger guns is you might have seen ones where you got to pull like this. Turn them on, and you get claw hand after using it for 15 minutes. With this one, you push it in, and you just have to put your hand against it, so you can, any way you want, just to keep it on.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to pull on that trigger. And then if you let off, it shuts off.
Do it again.
So you got a safety there, and just push it in. But the idea is if you've ever had to use a pressure washer for 45 minutes, you know how you get claw hand from holding it. Well, this one, as long as you've got it pushed in, it operates. And it has a switch to lock it off. That's for CSA approval. That's all that is. So if you can't pull it on, it's broke. No, it's accidentally been locked on. And we have to have that on there for CSA approval. Nobody ever uses it.
So the children can't shoot the other child in the eye with the pressure washer.
So yeah, and I've had those ones where they fool around with it too, and you're at the hospital. Because if you're injecting 1,300 PSI's water into somebody's back, it's not a toy. So it's not like a garden hose washing somebody down. My worst experience was at Ontario Hydro. They had 2 rookies there, and it was a hot water machine. So it heated the water to 180 degrees. And the one guy thought it'd be funny to spray the other guy down, and he put him in the hospital with 2nd-degree burns. Wow. So this machine is meant for cold water, but if you decide you want to put warm water through it, it will handle water up to 140 degrees. So I've seen people put mixer valves and things like that with their hot water tank, or you can turn your water tank down to 140 degrees and then just run it directly in. I just hooked it up the quickest.
The only thing is about that is that with that little hot water heater, you'd go through that volume so quick.
About 2 minutes.
And it'd never be hot. It wouldn't be hot after that anyway, so it'd be pointless unless you have a special heater.
Yeah. Okay. So turn it on. Whoops, the breaker is popped. So let's see which one goes. That one's good. There we go. Let off and shuts off. You always got to pull that.
That nozzle will take care of anything that, like if you want to clean down a piece of, we have a smaller excavator, Bobcat and stuff like that. That nozzle would work fine for that, right?
Yeah, and I would, if you've got really heavy mud buildup, you might consider just, again, Princess Auto, they have kits, $18
the red and
that cut a knife, like a knife, and, and the same pressure will just narrow it down.
They're basically universal for that coupling, right?
They are.
Are we leaking here?
No, that's just the back pressure because we don't have any chemical there.
It's dripping there.
Oh, it is dripping there. You are right. So I'm going to go out and get my tools. I got to give
there no Teflon in there maybe or something?
There should have been when it was done, but I got Teflon with me. I can fix that before I go.
Okay.